Tonight, could Q's latest cryptic photos tell a whole story of secret meetings in Chinese tech? Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start off every one of these episodes by saying thank you to each and every one of my subscribers. Without you guys, this channel would not work, so thank you to every one of you. If you have not yet, hit that subscribe button. Now's a great time. Come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified, because as soon as information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, jumping into the latest Q post, we have an incredible set of things to go over here and how it's all connected. We're going to go over that, and I'm going to make a few logical guesses on my part as to what some of these actually do mean. But I think I figured out a lot of the code left by Q with his cryptic photos. Now this, I still have yet to crack. This is a little bit baffling. Looks like it could be some kind of password, passcode, trip sequence, something in that nature, and I'm just not sure. I haven't heard anything or seen anything to give me any other indication otherwise either. So I've tried looking up things in regards to what kind of number this is, what sequence and digits this is, but it's tough to figure that out right off the bat, and there's so much more to cover here. So if you guys have any information on what this number means here, I'll leave it up for a second here. You guys can Google it, try to figure it out for yourself. I would really appreciate the comments down in the comment section to go over what that is. Now, Q gives us an incredible set of pictures, and they don't make any sense at first, but when you do a little digging, they start making a little bit more sense. First, fserv London, and it's a PNG file, and it's a picture here. And what is this picture? First, I forgot. Let's pause and say hello to the rogue intelligence agencies currently monitoring these threads. Was the money worth it? A message from Q. I had to do that. I'm sorry. But first, we're going to talk about these pictures here. First, this is a picture that looks like a couple taking a picture of each other. Could that be Peter Strzok? I don't know. But we're going to talk about how Peter Strzok is connected to all of this, and how London, I believe, is the centerpiece of what this set of photos is talking about. And I'll explain why in a second. First, fserv London. Obviously, we know it's in London from the tag here, but Peter Strzok in London, Operation Crossfire Hurricane. You guys heard of that in the news, I'm sure, which is the operation where Peter Strzok was sent to England on a special mission by Comey and Brennan to go work with MI6 or SIS, as they call it in London, in order to basically do the prep work for the Steele dossier to be released in order 90 days before the election, mind you, of 2016. Complete and total corruption at the highest levels. That they went over there and they put that fake dossier together, and then they released it to our media in order to try to undermine Trump as a last-ditch effort to hold on to power. But we'll get into that in a second. And now it says fserv London PS, right? So this is just a picture of one of the double-decker buses down here in London. Who knows? Peter Strzok could be actually in this picture. But I think this is from that time frame. I think this is when these pictures were taken. So it's obviously telling us that military intelligence was there following it. And this is just my interpretation. Other people will have different interpretations, but this is the best I have to go with, especially when you start looking at the names on the file here. And what is fserv? So let's go to that first. Well, I believe personally, after doing a little bit of research, that fserv is the secret meeting place where Peter Strzok was meeting with the SIS intelligence officers. And let me explain why. Okay, so let's start investigating what this all means. So before we do that, though, actually, it probably just couldn't hurt to go through the rest of the photos, I guess. So you have fserv London PS1, Peter Strzok possibly, is that what's being insinuated there? Now you have fserv London PS, and it's this picture of, let's see, this would be what we can see here. This says the city of, it's Hyde Park Corner, hold on, let me go back here where it's more clear. Trafalgar Square. Okay. So that's the second one, is the more close-up picture. I should have just went to that. But anyway, this is telling us that this is where the pictures are being taken, but they keep putting F-serve in the descriptions, right? So if you kind of look up a few different ways F-serve, you'll actually come up with something that is talking about a survey, right? It's talking about a survey that's actually the survey of Fulstow and Marshall Chapel, and they're talking about Revesby Abbey. Okay, now the connection there is pretty the best one I could make as of this moment. So bear with me. Revesby Abbey. It's a house or a manor, basically one of those old English manors in England that was basically owned by a bunch of royalty, whatever, or family of royalty, whatever, earls, dukes, whatever. And then it became a county house, and that was through a certain amount of time. And then recently it was bought, and they've marked it as a historical site. So they're trying to bring it back. But currently the owners are not able to be found. It's funny because it actually will tell you who has been owning it over time. It's been working with the English Heritage Society to restore it. But just recently it was sold in, I think it was, the current owners bought it in 1999. So what does that tell you? Since 1999, this building has been being used by somebody who's unnamed. Now, that doesn't mean anything at all. I'm sure you guys could find out who owns this house, but this is what it looks like. It definitely looks like something out of a movie. And that's my best guess as to what F-serve is. It's talking about the meeting place in London, possibly, where they were going to head to. Or possibly talking about something that was happening in Fulstow or Marsh Chapel. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. That's my best guess at the moment of what that's referring to, especially with these pictures being as cryptic as they are. I'm sure we'll get more information as we move forward. Now, we haven't had Q post any comments on these pictures. He's just been posting the pictures to this moment. And he was responding to his own set of pictures here in that post. Now he's responding again to what he just put up by saying, note the jacket's time of year Q. So he wants us to realize that the picture that we're looking at here, everybody's got their winter coats on. And I think I looked up the weather in London, and it's in the 70s now. So I don't think for one second that, or in Hyde Park specifically, I don't think, or Hyde Park Corner, I should say. I don't think that it's from this time of year. I think it's obviously from before, and that's what Q is trying to point out. It's not from now. This is not a photo that was taken recently. So he wants us to note that and note the time of year. Well, if you think about it, that could be possibly the time of year around which Peter Stroke may or may not have been in London for Operation Crossfire Hurricane, where he was doing what he was doing. This is my best theory at this point. I haven't heard one that has really gone anywhere else besides that. So that's where I'm going to leave that. I hope you guys take that with a grain of salt, because the very next post is going to be like completely laying out a new theory about it that I think could also be incredibly correct too. So, I mean, obviously if Q's pointing to it, then it has to be pretty much verifiable. So I just wanted to give you my take on that, and then we're going to jump into the Anon's theory that Q points to, and basically we have to think that that's pretty much how it went down. So, but it all could be connected back to Peter Strzok, in my opinion, that even if we're not talking about Peter Strzok, maybe this was what he was involved in, setting all this up. I don't know. There's so much to this. All right, so we'll keep going before I just ruin the whole surprise here. So now it gives us a picture here of an airplane, right? An Air China plane. And it's obviously, I think we can put together that it is at Zhengzhou Airport. And that will be based off of future posts that we're going to go over here. But it says, we are everywhere, Q, right? And he is responding to the Anon's theory here. The Anon says, a theory. Those pallets were full of smartphones to be distributed by members, i.e. Hillary, Bill, Hussein, Bremer, etc. These were special phones which the cabal thought could not be tracked or monitored. The cabal needed a new way to communicate after Q exposed their Gmail draft and game forum methods. Hillary was in New Zealand, Five Eyes, not only to raise funds, if that is the true story, but to test out the phones. Under direction of Trump, New Zealand told Hillary that the phones were good. The cabal worked with China's ZTE for these special phones. That is why ZTE was in the news today, or in the news lately. Trump drew attention to them to send the cabal a message that he was on to them. The pics in London show the cabal meeting up after communicating with their secret phones. Just a theory. Well, that could be very true. So if that were the case, then this would all be like kind of real time, which is not what Q's indicating from this last picture. But what he is saying is that this happened in the past. Now, let's think about what this overall theory is implicating and why Q would be pointing to it and saying we are everywhere and showing this Air China picture. Now, before we do that, we're going to go into the next few pictures because they're going to bring all that into to make a lot more sense. Now, Q starts posting a bunch of these pictures, right? First, he posts, this is the X, right? And that's the name of the plane, I guess. And I don't know if that's the actual name of the plane, but that's the name of the picture of the plane, the X PNG. And Q responds to that by saying Foxconn ZZ, and he gives this picture, right? Excuse me. Gives this picture. Now, what is this? This is Foxconn's main factory in Zhengzhou. ZZ, Zhengzhou, Technology Park in Zhengzhou. It has 120,000 workers. That's incredible. Employed as of 2012. Now, I was looking around for the suicide nets, and I can't make them out, but I'm sure they're wrapped around that building, as people have pointed out in the past, to prevent people from jumping out because their working conditions are so miserable, apparently. Now, the next picture is interesting as well. So this picture, when you blow it up, right, it looks like what we looked at before with those other Q posts where it showed the back of the truck in the Apple store and the pallets in the back of the truck. Are these those pallets? Were they being delivered to Zhengzhou, to the Foxconn factory, in order to deliver things? Now, what would these be? These look to me like laptops. Obviously, they have the AMD, which is a chip maker. AMD is popular in a lot of different laptops. Or these are the chips themselves from AMD, and that's how they package them and ship them over. Not 100% sure yet what exactly is in these boxes, because it's almost impossible to read what's on the side there. But I will tell you that the AMD processor is in whatever is in this box, so that is certainly something to be considered. And yeah, so we'll jump right into the next picture. The next picture would be him responding to the pictures he just posted again. And don't forget over here, though, this is the X10. So I tried to figure out what X10, maybe it's the A10, or X10 is a new chip that AMD is making, or X10 is a laptop. It's the only laptop that came up was an older Samsung laptop. iPhone, Apple X's, but I don't know if they would come in boxes like that. You know, it could be it's in a box. You know, how are we supposed to know besides use the clues that we have in front of us? So now the next two pictures are of these pallets, and they're labeled Class 1 and Class 2, CLAS 1 and 2. And all I can really make out is that this has the Air China sticker. So obviously I think these were on that Air China plane. But then past that, there's not much to really go off of. And it looks like these are what those laptops were wrapped up previously, or if they're not laptops, if they're boxes of chips or processors, I have no idea. It's pretty hard to tell exactly what we are seeing here in these photos, obviously, because like I said, they're in boxes. So you guys help out in the comments and leave your thoughts and theories about what you think could be in the boxes. And we'll jump right back here to the Anon's theory, and we're going to talk about it really quick. So here's the theory, basically, it broken down quite simply. So it's saying China got together with ZTE, right? And the people who sold out our country through the special access programs, so on and so forth, ended up being the ones who need to get out of the dragnet of the NSA and have secure communications, because now they're realizing, after Q has become pretty visible, that their communications are not working and that they're being basically broken at every chance that they can get. Another interesting thing to note, and it's not really maybe of that much importance considering it's an Anon posting here, but a lot of people have suggested that this Anon may be a little more than just a regular Anon. And also, Q pointing to this theory actually pretty much tells us that there's a lot of validity behind what this person is saying. So, Hillary, Bill, Hussein, and then Bremer. Bremer, people have pointed out that, there's Ian Bremer. He's a popular political scientist. He figured out all this crazy stuff like the J curve, with your stability and openness being two factors in that. And then it brings back to George Wallace, because George Wallace was actually assassinated by a man named Bremer, the last name Bremer, I believe. So, or he shot him? I'm not sure. Let me pull that up. So yeah, excuse me. It was Arthur Bremer with one M, who had the attempted assassination of George Wallace. But how does that all tie back to what we're talking about here? Well, people are saying that this is a typo and it meant to say Brennan, who we know is under a lot of scrutiny today. You even had Fox News come out with Joe Geneva saying that basically Brennan's going to need to seek get a criminal lawyer, because he's going to be under indictment soon, because the recommendations for charges being filed have been brought by the Inspector General Horowitz to the U.S. Attorney John Huber, who is going to be filing charges soon. And we already have, if you guys want to go back and watch, you can get a good update here if you guys are late to the game here, Anthony Weiner, the sealed indictment has been unsealed officially as of a day ago. So that's definitely something. There's a lot of bombshell information in this video if you want to go back and watch that and watch the others to catch up to where we are right now. But so that's what that's kind of referring to. Brennan, Bremer being the guy who tried to assassinate the candidate for presidency, and also you have Brennan being the raisin-faced turd muffin who lived at the CIA in a little hobbit hole. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry for the useless commentary on the raisin-faced turd muffin that is John Brennan. But moving forward, it's saying these were special phones which the cabal thought could not be tracked or monitored. So were these phones being passed out a while ago? Was this a part of something beforehand, or obviously is this being done right now? Because we have gone over in previous videos here talking about what they did. This is how, let's say, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok would communicate to their secret cabal. So basically it's like a dead drop, but you do it in a Gmail account. You open a Gmail account, you have a password, and then and it works a lot like how the 8chan works. So you have a password and you have a username, and you share that information with only those that you want to be able to access the account. And then instead of sending emails online to one another, you would say have one person log into that account, type in a draft, and then it'll automatically save in drafts. For anybody who's used Gmail, it just automatically saves all your drafted emails. And then others can access and go in, and they can look at that email, and that's a way to keep their messages from being transmitted across the internet, which is, it would hit some of the filter points. They have they have these certain points in the internet traffic that the NSA basically can just pick out whatever they, or basically just collect everything that's being transmitted digitally online. And then they also talk about how they use game form methods, meaning they would go into like these role-playing games and the online role-playing games where, it's World of Warcraft or whatever, and there's just thousands of people wandering around a digital world, and they'll go find each other and have a conversation. Or people had said that in some of these games you can, create treasure chests, and you can leave a message in the treasure chest, and it's just sitting on some digital platform out in the middle of cyberspace that nobody would ever really be able to find unless they were tracking and following you particularly. It's just a good way to get around the mass sweeping dragnet of surveillance in our country and in other countries that are involved with the Five Eyes. So that's what they're talking about there, that they needed a new way to communicate. Now it says Hillary was in New Zealand. We know that. We went over that before. And she obviously was meeting with the Five Eyes, trying to raise funds for her book or her campaign or whatever the heck she's doing now. Maybe her legal defense is what I would hope she's saving money for. But to test out the phones, so to test them out and to see if they could be hacked, I don't know. But Trump obviously was working with New Zealand and told them to let Hillary have the phones, or to tell her that they're good, right? Now the cabal worked with China's ZTE for these special phones. That is why ZTE was in the news lately. And Trump was drawing attention to them with all those tweets to send the cabal a message that he was on to them. Fascinating. And this could all very well be true. And then it's saying the pics in London show the cabal meeting up after communicating with their secret phones. Just a theory. Well, it's a theory, and it could be very, very, very true. So still no idea exactly what or how the Anon posted this knew about the fact that Q was going to post all these, or maybe he just got lucky, or they just got lucky and connected the China, the pallets going to the Apple store in China to this somehow. But either way, I think it's a solid theory. Obviously, Q points it out, and it certainly would make a whole lot of sense if that were, in fact, the case. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if you think that any of this is connected to what we've discussed here, and how are the other players involved. So we're going to move forward. Now the next post that we get here from Q is this. It's a Las Vegas remove PNG file. And when you open it up, you can obviously see that it is the Strip of Las Vegas. You can see the Eiffel Tower for that hotel, and you have the fountain at the Bellagio. You have the Caesar's Palace here, and all the way down at the end there would be where like the Mandalay Bay is. You can't even really see it where the Luxor and the Mandalay Bay are. But what you can see in this picture is the Cosmopolitan and other Strip hotels. And why is that important? Well, it's obviously important because there was a little bit of news today out there actually talking about the man walking into the mall at the Boulevard Mall in Las Vegas with a gun. And Q had told us before about being careful. Just in the last video, I talked about how this post right here is really a one to be noted by Q, where he tells us, basically without actually saying it, that the common theme when bad news is about to break against them, he asks us what is the common theme, and I think we all kind of put together that they usually will have some kind of false flag or some kind of distraction that'll take place, some large event, in order to basically draw the cameras and the public attention away from news that's breaking bad against them, right? So that being the case, I'm just going out on a limb here and putting two and two together, and if he's showing us Las Vegas, he's saying Las Vegas remove, so they removed something or they stopped something is what that would be maybe saying. And is it possible that that thing that they stopped was this masked gunman? It's very possible. So you guys let me know what you think in the comment board. But that's where I've gone with putting that together. Now the next post is very interesting, and it's the X2 shuttle. I think this is in the Smithsonian. I don't even think we're using these shuttles anymore. But it's just a picture of the shuttle. There's no further explanation, right? But an Anon posted something very interesting, put together this graphic that makes a lot of sense, where it says X2. It talks about the Q post from December 23rd here, right? And it's saying, 2011 shuttle program terminated by Hussein, U.S. loses space dominance, and it gives a link to an article about it, about the North Koreans miniaturizing nukes. And it says Iran nuke deal, North Korean nuke missile tech, SpaceX, NASA Tech 2, with a question mark. And it says HRC special access programs, private server connected, hundreds of millions pocketed, eye of Ra, left eye marker, symbolism, stupid, evil, stupid, justice, Q. So what he's saying there, Q is basically laying it out that the NASA technology was sold to other space agencies for money through the Clinton servers that she had in a coffee shop that people said, a 12-year-old could hack, where she was putting classified emails that had classified information. So, and then obviously whoever donated the most to the Clinton Foundation allegedly would have access to that, or be told where that private server was or how to access it. Right? And then the next post is important, and this is a post from January 21st where it talks about stage special counsel set, or stage Supreme Court, Anthony Scalia 187, uranium 1 fund supply Iran, North Korea, plus reduce U.S. capacity, kill NASA, prevent space domination, allow bad actors to take down military satellites worldwide, secure comms, install weapons of mass destruction, risk of EMP space originating, helpless, class 1 through 99, HRC 8, World War III, death and weapons, real war and war fake, and controlled population growth, control pocket billions. Yes, that was basically their plan. And it's sad, it's sick. But what this is basically laying out is, people probably put all of it together pretty basically already. But this was all a setup against NASA to take out our space program, because obviously space is the next level of warfare. That's probably why you have Trump saying quite often about making a space force, which is an interesting concept, I believe. And I'm actually pretty sure we probably already have some kind of cyber command or space command type military branch, but they just probably have not been named yet. And now they're saying here, they wanted to knock out our military satellites and secure their comms. That's the big one, secure comms, which is what we talked about with this technology, the phones or laptops or whatever they were shipping in those boxes. So obviously this all connects back. Everything Q's been telling us from the beginning has been connected, because it's all one big story that can be digested little by little as we go along. So that's kind of where I went with the NASA rocket picture there. Okay. So the next one, Guardian P. And it literally just says Guardian of the Pope, Killbox personal Q. And then the next one just says messages sent and Q. So there was definitely some messages being sent here on this board tonight. And like I said at the beginning of this video, let's take another moment to pause and say hello to the rogue intelligence agencies currently monitoring these threads. Was the money worth it? Ask yourself that question. This is a public service announcement from Q. But no, seriously, this is what we are all basically connecting here, is what they're saying. And Guardian of the Pope and personal, I can't put that one together yet. and it has a picture of an owl. Obviously, owls connected to like Moloch, the I guess deity that they worship, the idol that they worship over on Epstein Island and over in Bohemian Grove, that apparently is somehow connected to secret societies and other things that are pretty out there, but certainly possibly in the realm of existence and probably actually existing. Although there's not, we don't know the cabal is actually worshiping an owl, but we can speculate, and it seems pretty much given at this point. Saying it's personal, is this a personal vendetta with the Pope? Is there something going on with the Pope? I think the Pope personally, he's been coming out today and saying things like, today I think he was out criticizing the derivatives market. And it's basically like, it sounded like a veiled threat to like, hey, we're gonna start messing with the economy if you don't back off, meaning the whole operation here to expose the evil corruption in the Catholic Church and in other places. There's a lot of people out there. I mean, I think, what was it? The deputy pope has been charged with, human trafficking or something to that effect. And we'll look at the article right now. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt that this is an article out of InfoWars, but regardless, this is a real story that's actually happening. And they're saying here in this headline that the deputy pope kidnapped and trafficked over 100 boys to blackmail the Vatican. That's sick. This is the evil that we are fighting every day, ladies and gentlemen. And I really hope you understand that what we're up against here is some incredibly evil people. So that's what that is. So one more thing I want to talk about before we wrap this episode up is this right here. Have you guys seen this Yanni or Laurel thing where it says a word and then you're supposed to tell it and vote whether or not you heard Yanni or Laurel? This to me is the epitome, and I can't believe that the White House is promoting it, to be quite honest, because it's funny to hear Trump's response at the end to it, where he says, they ask him, because they're asking everyone in the White House what they hear, whether it's Yanni or Laurel. And I'm not going to tell you who I heard, because what I think this is some kind of mind, just another one of their mind control techniques. And how I mean that is, if they put this kind of stuff up on social media and say that word is like one of those left brain, right brain things where it's, if you're stronger in the left brain, you hear this, and if you're stronger in the right brain, you hear this, and it actually is all a part of building that digital profile that Google and Facebook and all these evil corporations have been working on against you. So understand that by telling this AI or this technology or whatever it is, who you hear, what name you hear, you're telling it more than just what you heard. You're telling it subconsciously things in your mind that you can't even probably understand or fathom. And I know I can't even give you the full scope of what they are, but I can tell you that it is very interesting to note that whether you hear Yanni or Laurel, you're giving an indicator to be put into your metadata file that can be used against you. Imagine people in advertising have gotten to the point where if they're marketing certain things, they need to know whether you're left brain or right brain to understand what your propensity is for gullibility, or your propensity for acceptance, or whatever it is, because they put together these psychological profiles on people, and they're getting, and you guys think this is all like out in space and La La Land, or in the future, but the algorithms they have are so complex and the computing power they have is so strong. What would be stopping them from applying these principles to marketing, which is the biggest industry in the world, basically, is marketing, in my opinion, and advertising, I should say. So, Yanni or Laurel. And then you can see Trump here at the end. We'll watch it real quick. It's quite funny.
I hear Covfefe.
So President Trump hears Covfefe. I think he's too smart to be telling it what he actually hears, because it's obviously another way for them to control us, in my opinion. That's how these things, they don't go viral by accident. You think this stupid little name thing is just like, oh, everybody, the whole world's gotta give a vote on Laurel or Yanni? No, no, no. There's something much more nefarious to this, in my opinion. But that's me. That's just my humble uh, opinion. So I want to thank everybody for watching Just Informed Talk. If you guys want to check out the channel here, it's a great way to support the channels to come over here and find me at Justin_formed on Twitter. You can come follow and give me your tweets, and I'll tweet them back out and follow you guys, or find out if some of you guys are in this game together. We'll get together on Twitter and we'll create a meme storm, hashtag it, and get it out there. So that's definitely a cool way you can come help out the channel. That's it. That's all the Q posts for today. I hope all this makes sense. And I think all of this is all connected in one way or another, but I'm not sure if I'm right about the Peter Strzok suggestion, but it very well could have happened then too, since he was still working with them. But this is obviously something that happened, and we have to figure it out. So you guys let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment board. I can't wait to hear it. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you're looking for a way to support the channel, the easiest way to do it is to come over here to the landing page, click that big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified, because as soon as it's made available to me, I make it available to you. And if you're looking for another way, the second best way you can contribute to the channel is to scroll down at the end of this video, leave your thoughts, theories, insights, and comments, especially given I want to talk about what that theory is. It's just, I know there's so much more in the subtext there that we may have just glanced right over. So please contribute down in the comments and let me know what you think about what those posts actually mean. Now, another great way to contribute to the channel, if you're looking for another way to help, is to come over here, find me on Patreon. That's patreon.com. You search Just Informed Talk, come here to this landing page, click this button to become a patron, and all your contributions will help keep this channel alive, because, you know, all the help I can get to keep this channel running, so I can do this every day, to bring you this information every time it's posted, it helps me out a lot. So come over here and go ahead and click that button to become a patron. Check out my rewards and goals. It's not a one-way street. You definitely get something in return for your contribution. So you guys can come check that out if you're interested. And thank you in advance to everybody who's come and looked at that page. Now, or who will come and look at that page. Now we're going to talk about the most important thing. Okay, what is that? God, of course. And why is God's grace the most important thing to us every single day? Because God's grace is like our protection. God is our shield when we go out into the world, our sword and shield. He will stand by us, and he will affirm our faith as long as we affirm our faith in him, by praying and by doing good works and by acting as Christians, as the Bible tells us to. But Psalm 121 tells us a great thing. It tells us how the Lord is our protector. And I just love hearing these words, because they make me feel safer. They make me feel closer to God. They bring me that solace in my heart to know that the Lord is protecting me and protecting those that I love, as long as we seek him on a constant basis and put him first in our lives and never forget how important God is to our everyday existence. Now, all this information we find here is great. It all helps to create a new set of information for prosecuting and bringing light to the evil, to the darkness. But we're going to talk about Psalm 121 here, so I'm just going to read it, and I hope these words speak to your heart. And it says, I raise my eyes toward the mountains. Where will my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to slip. Your protector will not slumber. Indeed, the protector of Israel does not slumber or sleep. The Lord protects you. The Lord is a shelter right by your side. The sun will not strike you by day, or the moon by night. The Lord will protect you from all harm. He will protect your life. The Lord will protect your coming and going, both now and forever. Well, those words should stick in your heart every day. And remember The Lord will protect your coming and going both now and forever. And that the Lord protects you. He's a shelter right by your side. Your help will come from the Lord. And Jesus Christ is right there. He went and died on the cross for our sins so that you can have eternal life. So don't forget that. And just remember that God absolutely loves you, and that everything we do from here forward has to be about God first. So if you don't take anything else away from that, remember God, from this episode, just remember that God loves you and that He is your protector, and that He will be there in the toughest times of your life when you're facing adversaries, when you're facing different roadblocks, when you're facing different threats, when you're facing different attacks, when everything seems like it's not going the right way, and the evil in others is being projected onto you. Just remember that if you just seek the Lord, He will not allow your foot to slip, because He does not slumber. He does not sleep. He is always there for you. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please come over here, hit that big red subscribe button. It helps me out big time. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you once again for watching this episode. But this has been Just Informed Talk. I'm Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.